And also, I apologize to my poor dear mother who doesn't realize she's going to be in this video. Hi, Mom. Sorry, Mom. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bob Builds Crap. Do I? Yeah, I do. Okay, let's just be honest. It's been a while since I've done anything for you, so let's take you on another little journey. I've got a little project that I want to do for my mother, for the kids, for the family, it's going to be kind of an all-inclusive thing for the family. Basically, there's an issue where my mom watches TV in one room, my sister and the kids watches TV in the other room, and then you get this sound issue, this fight between on both of the rooms. So one TV starts going up in volume, so the other TV starts going up in volume. You know how that goes. Those sound wars, they're pretty crazy. Anyway, it's not a great solution, but it's a little bit of a solution, and I'm going to take you on a little thought process here and a building process, and we'll see how this goes, see how it works. I'm going to build something, going to have the kids do a little work on it as well, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. So stand by. This is going to be cut and dry. This is going to be a cut around video. It's not going to be like one of the old ones when I built the computer many moons ago. But yeah, stick around, find out, see if you like it, copy it if you like it, and we'll see how well this works. Thanks, folks. Alright, so first up, sorry, Mom, stealing some stuff that I was going to use to build something else that I promised to build you. But I also promised to build this, so yeah, I'll get more wood eventually. We'll build that one too. So simple 2x2. American 2x2, so it's not exactly 2 inches by 2 inches. It's more like 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Yay! Actually, it's not really American. It's just the fact of wood nowadays. It's you're not buying what you're buying. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Crossbeam, real simple. Bought pieces and certain lengths to make sure I don't have a ton of excess stuff. Long beams. There we go. Does that fit on camera? There we go. Now it fits on camera. These are 4 feet-ish. Not quite 4 feet, but pretty close. I'm going to basically build a rectangular frame with a brace down the middle. Around that frame, I'm going to have some of this black cloth. And to have the kids work on it interactively, it has some canvas. And all stuff you can buy from Home Depot. Real simple, easy stuff. It's not a white canvas. It's sort of an off-tan canvas, but it's cheap painting supplies. Extremely cheap. So this stuff you can get. This I think was $5. So real easy, 5 by 5 foot, easy to cut, easy to wrap around when it comes to that time. But basically, it's going to be rectangular frame, black fabric on the inside, and then hold that thought. And this stuff. My mother doesn't know it yet, but when she watches this video, she's going to know it. But I'm going to use this stuff that's been sitting in the garage for a while. Basically, it's a egg crate foam. I'm going to build a sound deadening device. Not really a device, it's an object. A device usually says it's doing something active, which kind of technically is doing something active. It's actually negating certain sound frequencies from reflecting on the wall. But basically, I'm going to build 2 of these frames. I'm going to put them up on the wall. Before I have them put up on the wall, I'm going to have the kids paint it with whatever they want to paint onto it. So it'll be sort of a keepsake-ish for Mom and their mother, my sister. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned. Cannot forget the monsters. Gotta keep me going. By the way, it's winter. It's January 15th. January 15th-ish. I think My phone's right there. I was like, I don't have my phone. Phone's right there. Sometime, I don't know what day it is. It's the weekend. Anyway, my watch isn't telling me what day it is, so let's just say it's the second week of January. And it is cold. It snowed for a few days. We got a foot of snow just the other day. It's cold outside. I'm in the garage. It's cold out here. And of course, I'm drinking a nice cold Monster, which is no other way I'd rather have it. What was I doing? Building. So much like the last garage I did all my work in, it's a very cramped space. We have a lot of stuff in here because, it's after Christmas and I don't want to work outside, so sorry for the mess, Ma. Always better to, seek forgiveness than ask permission. Sorry, Ma. I'm just going to keep this rolling as I do all this work here. And that way you can see what I actually have to move around and go through to do all this. Gonna make a mess. But thankfully I have options here for mitigating that mess as much of just like that. Where did you come from? Anyway. Yep. I'll make a mess like I always do. If I do it fast enough, maybe nobody will notice. That's not true. And somehow that rhymed. And I'm singing a song. I'll be done in time. And it won't take too long. And I'm out of power. I'll be back. Alright everyone, I'll have to put up with a really weird angle because I want to show how this is working out. Basically, I'm going to take all these, cut a 45-degree angle. That should create the outer edge. And yeah, should probably measure. Be a good idea. Tape measure. Make sure I have all the same. They're all the same length. A little bit bended, just a little bit. Well, that's an easy fix. You just take this guy, go like this, and you go, look, it's straight now. This one, no. Ooh, all right. Well, that's what I get for not working with the wood when I buy it. And I have had it for a couple of months now, and that should be pretty close. These are all within about an eighth of an inch to a quarter off, but I think part of that has to do with the little staples that are on the end. Staples everywhere. Now you see, if I had just gone out and bought full lengths, come on, pliers. Can't you pull out the dang staples? Oh goodness. Dang it, Bobby. That's the extent of my Hank Hill impersonation there. There we go. See, getting it out now. Such a low angle, you don't get to see my beautiful face. Sorry. Anyway, let's make sure we don't have any more of these darn staples. There we go. Staples is gone. Get those tossed away in the trash can there. I'm going to adjust this just a slight bit up. You can still see the bottom of the saw. And of course, you know, taking off the staples, I moved them around. So the next thing we want to do is take a magical pencil here. We want to mark the straighter edged sides. So we're going to do good, good. And so that will be a good. And then I think this one is mostly straight. I think this one's the straightest of the bunch. Alright, well. Good, 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 good. And we're going to take these. These are going to be our sides. 1, 2, 3, 4 tops and bottoms. Okay. And take these. I will most likely edit a bunch of this stuff out. But essentially, I'm going to go into here and take it right to the edge. And I am going to cut it. No, I'm not. You've watched my videos before. What's the most important thing I'm missing? Safety glasses. Now, we're ready to cut. I apologize for those folks if it looks like I'm looking over here at all, because I'm looking at the image and I know the camera's way over here, and it's just, you're naturally drawn to looking at yourself in the camera as opposed to looking right at the camera, and I always mentally forget that. So, you know, me being an actor who's been on stage and actually on film and camera, I still can't seem to get that into my little noggin. Anyway. Where was I? Cutting. Alright, it's going to get a little noisy. I forgot one key step. Making sure these are all the same length. Alright. Put this back out after I just finished something. First, do this. Back to 0. Lock it down. And then. Make sure good side up. Good and good side up. Take them all down to the end. And now grabs the clamps. Clamps, do your job. That's a Futurama reference for those folks that aren't aware. Alright, let's see, we need a flat edge. A flat edge. Edge. Let's use the real deal carpenter square here. And just knock those straight into edge. can just eyeball this, it's going to be about the same. These don't have to be exact. They really don't. Just do one across like this. Clamp it down. Just don't Jed clamp it down. Another reference. I am terrible. Sorry, folks. This is what you get to deal with. This is just the kind of comedy you should learn to expect from a guy like me. Now, I'm going to take this, and you can see, now to have the other side all done, you can see that none of those match up, so we're going to make sure those match up first. Nice and easy, just clamp them 4 ways and take it down to the end here. You don't have to cut off a lot, just have to cut off a tiny bit. Take our post clamp here on the saw. That'll help stabilize this whole thing. Nice and tight. None of the wood is going to be visible at the end of this, so it's not really important that it stays unmarred. And just like that. See, that's the difference in size between all these pieces right there. So difference in size, that could make all the difference in how square this whole thing comes out. We're going to turn this whole thing around. We're going to do the exact same thing to the opposite side. And that should make it truly square. Oh, look, they did shift just a little bit, so and because they shifted, now I have to check to make sure that all straight down here. No, we had one squeak out. He squeaked out. Alright. That's fixed. Make sure we're flush to the fence. Good. Wondering what I was doing at the end there. It's I bumped it, but I didn't want to take off a ton on the end. I only wanted to take off a little sliver. That's actually more than I really wanted to take off because it's going to affect the overall measurements. But once again, it's not a big deal because these are not structural. These are not anything that's going to be, needing to be exact. So basically going to look like two painted frames on the wall. And instead of 4 feet, they'll now be 47 and a half. 47 and a half. Now, what we have, where's my good sides? Where am I good? There, on the other side. We have that. There's my good sides. Make sure they're all still visible. We're going to start making our 45-degree cuts. What I consider the good side. The good side is the straighter outer sides. Okay. So realistically, I should cut it with the good sides out. Otherwise, if I cut it with the good sides in and facing you, that bow will keep it from sitting flush against the wall. We want it to sit flush against the wall, so we want you can see the difference in the bow right there. You can see that air gap in between the wood. So if I set that flush against the wall, then it sticks out from the wall. I don't really want that. So we're going to cut the 45s across this length of it. So on the opposite side of where I marked good is where we're going to be putting those 45s. I'm going to do 2 at a time because I can. It's not really going to make any difference as long as I'm within even just a couple of millimeters, really. Again, tolerances on this don't have to be perfect. Even though, I'm taking tons of time to get my angle down. But I want that shadow that I was talking about. There's a little shadow that comes across the top of the wood there. It tells me where the blade is going to cut. Because there's a light inside of here, it shines down onto the blade and creates this little line. Little tiny line. I think you can see it on the camera. Anyway. Make sure both of these flat against that. Very important safety tip, always make sure this stops before reaching anywhere around it. So there's our 2 perfectly cut little corner pieces. Makes one cube that's exactly the right size of that. Make that cut a few more times. Flip this over, because we want these to be exactly the same. We're going to make this cut again, and we even have a bad side there. So that works out really well for where I marked it. As long as I do 2 of these at the same time, the lengths will be perfect. So it won't matter, because this is one frame. The other 2 will be for the other frame. So as long as I make sure that these 2 are exactly the same length, the top and bottom pieces, or whatever they end up being, the sides, as long as the other 2 are the same length, the shorter sides, this will end up being square. So, and looks like I'm right on the corner. Also, never reach in for your scrap before the saw has completed. So another pretty good cut there. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's pretty good. Normally something else you'd want to do is you want to use your grain structure. So if you see the grain structure in here, we have the lengthwise grain structure. So this is a good situational cut for that grain. Whereas this one is going across the opposite grain. It would have been ideal to have the cut come at an angle there to make these match up. But again, the wood's not going to be visible in the frame, so it doesn't matter. And it's non-structural. So basically that's the first steps, and then do I have, yes I do. I do. The remaining pieces back here. Pull some more staples. But yeah. Seem to be missing a few boards, and or I miscounted. More than likely, the ladder. Not a problem. Ends. I can essentially take one of these and just cut it into its half. That'll become the new cross brace. You will see that some of these are pre-cut. They were cheaper. That's because they were meant to be stakes. So cheaper wood works just fine. Really, honestly, it would have been cheaper to get the whole length and then cut it, but at the time, I was thinking fast. And of course, at the time, I didn't do the project, so fast made no difference. All right, folks, so I'll be back. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this where it is, and then we'll get ready for the next part. All right, well, I'm gonna try things from this here angle. I can't see the camera. I don't know what's in the frame. Probably a little more because I can do the widescreen on this particular one. Anyway, what you didn't see on camera is I cut the top and the bottom. So we have the top and the bottom now. So those are cut and ready, or left and the right side, depending on which way we do the frame. Anyway, I could have saved a little bit of wood by cutting this a little bit shorter, and doing the same thing for the opposite cuts. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the scrap end cuts, which were these guys right here. You'll notice they're about the same length because, you know, I was shooting for the same length initially, but I forgot to take the difference of the 45-degree cut. So I will end up putting a 45-degree cut on this guy pretty much right there. So it's gonna happen there. Makes this whole thing about 1.25 inches shorter. 1.25 inches shorter. I'm on a rhyming scheme today, aren't I? Anyway, asides. Basically, I'm going to take this block of wood here, and I'm going to use it as my measure. This is going to be the center post. I'm realizing now the center post is actually a different piece of wood than this piece of wood. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be a big deal. So I'm going to put that right at that point. I'm going to mark where that one goes right there. That way I know that's my cut. This is the good side. It's the scrap side. This ends up being the center post for all 4 of the sides. I was also getting a lot of sawdust everywhere. Sorry, Ma. Because I didn't have a good seal on my hose. Now I have a better seal. I don't know where I'm going in this accent, but it's things are what they are today. Basically, we're going to cut that right there on there. Get the safety clamp down. You don't have to use the safety clamp for a single cut like this, but I find that it's just a better way of doing it. So Excuse the noise. All four sides and the center post to the frame are finished. So we have these two, make sure we have the right ones, yeah. So short sides, the center post, which comes out right to the middle of the angle there, and their long sides right there. We're gonna glue and screw all of these together, make them nice and solid. Just a single screw, one direction on each side, and clamp it, get some glue in there, make a good solid structure. That's really gonna tie both of the sides together really well. These are not overly long, so they're not gonna be really flexible, which is good. And you start using this wood and getting the really long lengths of it, things will start to bow and flex on you, especially if you're using a single screw on the ends like that. It can start to twist and warp. We don't want it to twist and warp. We want it to twist and shout. Sorry. Not enough monster. With just a hint of sawdust. Yeah. So, I'm only going to build one today, I think. I might cut everything now, but I'm going to build one frame today, make sure it's exactly what I want to do. I have another little trick up my sleeve to make this frame a little more exciting for the evening times. And then hand it over to the children and let them have their merry way with it. Alright, I'll be back. Well, alright. Still no great camera angles, I apologize, but essentially I'm going to show you the basis for what we're doing here. I already told you the basis for what we're doing here, but I'm showing you the end result of the cutting of materials here. So the two long sides, the two short sides, essentially they're going to build a frame, a rectangular frame like that. And then I'm going to put a canvas around it after I put some of that black cloth around it. I'm going to let the kids paint it. I'm going to put some of that foam material in there. And this is the center brace of it. Put some of that foam material in there, and yeah, hopefully that mitigates a little bit of the sound bouncing off of a big flat wall in the living room or the family room, and allows my mother to enjoy her TV a little more efficiently without the audio war that ensues. So this material, it's probably going to be a different shot here and a whole fast forward thing as I sit here and clamp. The important thing is you know, I'm not going to explain everything, but the important thing is before I put screws into the ends, always pre-drill. This stuff will split really easily. So we're going to pre-drill everything, just one for each corner. Don't need to overdo it with two screws because the canvas itself is going to hold it together as well. There's not going to be a whole ton of stress. So yeah, I'll get started and you'll watch a fast forward of this, I guess. Oh, we'll see. Now we begin. What did I do with the glue? I might be out of glue. Oh. Huzzah! With glue. As always with wood glue, glue dries up and gets stuck in the end, but there we go. Cold wood glue. Ooh. Alright. Fast forwarding begins somewhere around here. so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to go like this, so I'll go make this easier, just going to lay it flat, like this, like that, like this and like that, and like this shimmer. What in the world? Ah, it's my shirt. Thank you.
Huh?
Thank you.
Yep.
So, speaking of gut, you know, the fact that I run Spartan races and my current condition is funny. But speaking of Spartan races, they ran out of shirts during my sprint. So, yeah, here's my sprint. That came in today, so that's nice. Put this back in the bag so it doesn't get all dusty. Woo! Back to work. Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and clamp these right at the corners. It's like the worst possible way to do a clamp job, but I'm going to do it this way anyway because I can. Maybe I can. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't going to work. It's not the proper style clamp that you'd want to use to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Alright. Yeah, it also helps if your wood is exactly, precisely the same size. And in this case, it is not. Little variations in wood. I mean, that's the joys of woodworking right there, is you're always going to have these little differences, because unless you have all the right gear, all the right equipment, like a planer and stuff like that, if you're willing to take the time to sand it down, you can mitigate such issues. But of course, I'm lazy and I want to do this fast. So I'm going to do it the lazy and fast way, and just put the screw in down here. And we want to do it at a little bit of an angle, but not too much of an angle, because we don't want to split the wood entirely. Get it in deep. And what we're going to do is so the screw itself is slightly smaller than the interior of the threading, the base of the screw, not the outside of the screw. And then what we do is we take one of these and just punch right into the end. Sorry, you're not going to see this on camera. Just going to bevel that so that the head of the screw sits as flush as possible with the screw. And if done properly, you should be able to screw this all the way in. It's not, it definitely moved a little bit, because the edge, and I'll show you here, is just not perfect. I'm not impressed with the quality of my work, but once again, none of it's going to be visible. So it is what it is. I'll undo that screw once I'm ready. I'll put a little bit of glue in there that will help stiffen that up. I don't think the glue is ultimately going to be truly necessary. If I were really angry about this, I could take this off, flip this around, run the screw the opposite direction, hope I get the path better the second time around. I doubt that I'm that good, considering I'm not working with the tools that I know I have. That's the problem. I have everything I need to make corners work. I have corner clamps, I have all that stuff, but none of it in here. So I do it the shoddy way. Just do it the shoddy way. This will probably fast forward because it won't require a ton of talking as I repeat the same bad steps 3 more times here. Pro tip: tighten it all the way down on the chuck, give it one little turn back, ain't moving, locks it in. I saw that on a TikTok video. I hate learning from TikTok videos. I can't believe I learned from a TikTok video, but I saw it on TikTok video, so hey, it's gonna fast forward from here. Okay, so not perfect edging, that's fine. Like I said, this is all going to be hidden from canvas, or with canvas I should say. Didn't even need to use any glue, which means I can set this up really fast. It's non-structural, as I alluded to earlier, so that's good. That makes things considerably easier. And I don't have to use clamps right now, which is pretty good. I can put this stuff away. I don't need to extend my table in really weird and odd ways, which is what I thought I was going to have to do.
Right down the hallway. So what are you making? I had to come out and see what you were doing.
I am...
It looks like a frame.
It is a frame. Remember how I was telling you that I can make it so that you and Susie don't have to battle over the TV noise?
What? Oh, you're hanging on the wall?
It's a picture frame.
You put that padding behind it?
With the canvas. And that padding inside of it.
Where are you going to put it?
And hanging on the wall.
Will it look ugly?
I'm going to make 2 of them. Of course it's going to look ugly.
Oh, okay.
Why would I make something
I was teasing you.
and have it look good?
The kids are going to write on it?
Yeah, I'm going to have them paint it.
Cool. Glad my ladder came to use.
She doesn't know she was on camera. Anyway, so yes, a little bit of a bump edge there. That's because this is a different cut of wood. And that's the thing. If you don't plane them down or do something, that's just the sort of thing that's going to present itself. But it's not the end of the world. It really isn't. There's going to be excess fabric on the back anyway, so that's going to cover that up. Take a sand block to the edges. Real quick and easy. Just knock off that sharp edge. That edge is gone. Yeah, this one doesn't really have much of an edge. That came off really fast and easy. These are going to be a little proud. Might have to use something a little more. Yeah, it's coming off. sandpaper isn't quite holding up. These foam block sandpapers are really good, but they're really good with flat areas. They're not really good with edges like this. Alright, so a little bit of sanding done. Edges are down to where they're no longer dangerous. Front side, we should always mark what is our front and back side. So F, even though I have an A for there, I had marked all of these cuts earlier with an A so that I knew that this was set A. They're kind of interchangeable. I could have used the different legs with the different ends, but just in case I accidentally set something on the wrong side, I do know that I could put it back together. All right. This stuff, I'm sure some of you know. I got this online, and it was from a guy on Facebook of all places, so thank you. This is Dubatine. I use this in my work all the time, and it's really interesting cloth material. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take twice the amount that I need. And this stuff's really nice because you don't need scissors to make a straight cut. And just like that, I have $20, by the way, for that. I don't think you can find that any cheaper in the store. So basically, there's a velour side and there is a non-velour side. And what I want to do is I want to use the velour side on the outside of it. So this is going to go over this whole thing, and hopefully, if I grabbed enough of it, is enough to, yep, yes. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. So I'm going to put this down like this. So I'm actually going to take a little excess amount. So yeah. So that is our working base, essentially. This is going to fold over and be nice and taut. And the reason I wanted to use the velour side, not that it's really going to make that much of a difference. And what I call the velour side, it's a little bit softer material there. This is a little bit rougher. The reason I want that on that side is completely aesthetic. No change in performance whatsoever in this respect, because really the whole point of this is to, it's not soundproof, it's sound deadening. What we're doing is we're making a material and we're allowing the sound to hit it and not reflect off of it like it would on a wall, like it would normally. So doing this helps the sound, it's going to pass through it. And when it passes through, it's going to hit that foam and it's going to really kind of get eaten up by the foam. The sound is going to get eaten up by that foam. And that's going to make basically this whole thing work the way that I want it to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this here staple gun, install the battery in here staple gun. I have enough excess on all the sides. Take this, one that direction. Oh, got it right on the screw head, I think. One that way. Pull it nice and taut down here so we have a nice straight edge to work with. So always do, whenever you're doing cloth like this, cloth, tarping, if anyone has looked at the pictures of the patio that I did for my mother, you want to do one direction, one the opposite direction. I might still need those in there.
Oh, I'm sorry?
I said I might still need those
Was
in
there
there.
even in there?
No.
Because your drill's gone, I thought.
Yeah, it's out here.
Oh, okay. That's gonna sit right here.
Okay.
Alrighty. I put those things up in my closet. I just took them out of the bag. The other bag.
Oh, okay.
I just took them out of the bag and put them in my closet. Okay.
Alrighty. The other nice part about this material is it's fairly workable. You can stretch it, you can keep it taut, you can pull it at different angles, and it will eventually flatten out. It's not a very strong material, but it's strong enough to kind of withstand a lot of your yanking and pulling that's going to occur. So we've got one side done. Pull this up and over. I apologize if I obstruct the view at any point. And I apologize to my poor dear mother who doesn't realize she's going to be in this video. Hi, Mom. Sorry, Mom. She'll yell at me later. So, in cases like this, you want to work from the center out. Make sure it's nice and tight. Work from the center out, pull up and pull away, just like that. Do one direction and then the opposite way. That will make a good strong hold. Not very good with my left hand and a staple gun. So wash, rinse, repeat. Whoop. Nice balance job, stapler. Pull it taut this way. Pull it taut, pull it taut. It doesn't have to be really tight either because it's going to have that canvas on the outside. So I have a lot of leeway, really. All right. Now we get to cut some foam, eggshell foam, egg crate foam, however you want to call it, and put it on the inside. Won't worry about pulling the sides in until I've done more of that, although it might be a good idea to do it. We'll see here. It might be a good idea. Let's see. I think I will go ahead and just do that real quick. It'll help kind of secure it from getting overly floppy there. And yes, I know the staples are on the side right now. That's not a big deal because, once again, this is going to be covered in canvas. When I cover it with canvas, then I will staple it along the back. So it'll all be stapled on the back at that point. Pull from the center, just like that. Oh no, I did the staple backwards. Okay. There, that way it's not gonna want to pull itself because I don't have a big enough table. You really should do this with a really big flat table. It'd be best to have a nice big large table, but I don't have one. So, all right. The foam bits, eggshell crate foam. This has been rolled up for a while. I mean, this is your standard bed foam. There's nothing special about this. What I do like about it, as opposed to your normal egg crate foam, is it does have a variation in the different types of foam cupping there is here. So that variation will actually help when it comes to different frequencies of sound. So that's a good thing in this case, that it's not just straight eggshell foam. Having those variations is actually going to have an appreciable effect on what frequencies it's going to keep from rebounding off of the material. So that's it's actually a really nice thing. So we cut cut and drop a whole bunch of screws. All right, so while I do this, I'm going to listen to my audiobook, and I am going to speed up this process. Okay, so here is the initial result. I'm gonna roll this here thing back up into its place and return the twine to its once divine position of holding. I don't know why I went with that set of words right there, but you know, hey, even my southern's starting to come out. I'm not even southern. Not proper anyway. Okay, did live in the South for a very short period of time, but it was only a short period of time. I should not have picked up an accent. Anyway, so this is the initial result, and I'm going to actually turn these around so that because this is the back of the panel, these are going to be facing the front. But yes, you know, so a lot of people will use this stuff on walls to deaden the sound and do a lot of different work for audio stuff like that. But as you can see, making sure this is still recording. As you can see, it's it's ugly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this here, turn this around. It is ugly stuff. You don't want to see that all the time. It's not worth looking at. And realistically, I could double this up, but it's not going to, I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference if I were to double it up. But yeah, take that. That is now settled. We'll actually fold these in first before folding in the sides, or the tops. Sides, tops, I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the children decide if they're going to paint this landscape or if they're going to paint it portrait. It'll be entirely up to them. Okay. The two that I pulled out would have been perfect had I not pulled them out, had I not used them in the first place. But yeah, is what it is. Staple gun trick. If that rail does not slide easily, you're just going to be jamming yourself up all day long. How do I know? Done it plenty of times. And a few on the edge for good measure, even though I know it's not going to go anywhere. When it comes to duvetine, more staples is generally good, but like I said, this is still going to get covered by canvas, so it's not nearly as important. Get one right on this edge. That is the basis for the frame. So vacuum that off, and canvas will go over it. Kids can either paint it like this, or they can paint it like that. I'm not worried about this little stretch. That's actually from the roll. It's right at the beginning of the roll where it's the most flexed. It's not a big deal because, again, it's going to get covered by nice thick canvas. I don't even need to clean this off, really. There's another step that I'm going to be adding to this to give it just a little bit of flair for evening times, and that is some RGB IC lighting. So stay tuned, we'll come back to that. Alright, back at it. So, what I was talking about, RGB LED lighting, RGB IC, which means it's programmable. Actually has a chip on each of the little LEDs, so that you can do a lot of extra programming. I don't care about the box. The box is going to go. That's right, I forgot to pick up my multi-tool. This open. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, so real simple little thing, and I should have. I'll have to think about this for the next one. I should have put this inside of the frame. It's not a big deal. Not that big of a deal. I've tied this all on here. Really rather strange way. Did I hit record? You'll tell me, right? Yeah, I did hit record. So basically, so that's a pretty good lead. So I don't need to put the box inside of it, especially since that's going to have, actually has a physical control as well as a remote control. Now what I'm going to do is, let's see how many times, this is what, 16 feet? Yeah, 16 feet. This is just under 4 feet, so I should be able to go back and forth 4 times, sort of, thereabouts. I have to decide if I want to go straight back and forth, if I want to cross it. I bought 2 of these, but I think one is going to be just fine. Oh, I don't have a long enough plug. Let's see. Yeah, I might. If it's strong enough. Alright. That is strong enough. Look at that. So yeah, essentially we're gonna go back and forth across this whole thing. This should really look neat. We'll staple it to one corner. Let's start off by doing that. Right in the center so it doesn't affect anything. And this is still going to be covered with canvas either way, so I can detail that down. Need to be careful so I don't go through the wires. Is this visible? It's not really visible. You're not seeing the effect here. Or are you seeing the effect? I can't tell. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell with a situation like this. Is that better? Does that work? It actually does work. As long as my phone doesn't fall. Yeah. These. Basically, should be able to staple it. It's gonna bulge on the canvas just a little bit, but really not terribly worried about that. I need to back off the pressure just a little bit there. I think I'm gonna go at a little bit of an angle like you see here. What do you think? We'll put the canvas over it. Let the kids paint it. Put it up on the wall, plug it in. Yeah. Suppose I should probably see how this looks through the canvas. Because, you know, it'd be just like me to make something that you can't even see the light through. Plug that back in. Yeah, this should work. This should. It does. It looks. I like it. I like it. I think that's going to be really nice. Especially once the kids put a little bit of paint on it. Maybe we'll do some watercolors. Those watercolors might really work well on that. Yeah. Alright, well, once again, this part's going to fast forward as I do all the detailing and listen to my audiobook in the meantime. But, I mean, even without the paint, I kind of like how it looks. Alright, cool. Alright, keep watching, folks. All right, let's see the pretty much final project. Yeah. A little bit of wrinkles here and there, but actually those probably start to come out over time. Especially won't matter once the kids add a little bit of paint to it, but let's see the final effects here. Well, there we go. One audio rejection panel with a little bit of flair. Next up is to find a good place to put it up on the wall and see how well one does. Build the next one. Might have to build a few more depending on the overall room, because it's a large room, so it's going to have a decent amount of reflection, but I wish I had a little more LED in the middle. Maybe next time when I do this, I'll start with it in the middle. But what I should have done is I should have come across the middle there. I should have gone diagonal and back and forth. But, you know, it's random pattern. It's kind of what I was going for. But I'll do some pictures of it up on the wall, and that should be the end of it. Well, thank you for watching along, folks. Hopefully that was a little inspiring. Maybe you'll want to build your own, and maybe I'll build some more, and maybe it'll be a thing. But anyway, welcome back to Bob Builds Crap. I'm done building crap for today. Bye, folks.